In a small forgotten village where dreams came to die, lived a boy named David. His clothes were torn, his stomach often empty, and his pockets completely empty. But inside his mind, there was something his poverty could never touch, an empire of dreams. While other children played with toys, David played with ideas. While they dreamed of candies, he dreamed of changing the world. People laughed. They called him foolish. Dreams don't fill empty stomachs, they said. But David knew something they didn't. At 15, David worked at a local tea stall, earning barely enough to survive. Every morning he watched businessmen in expensive suits drive past in their luxury cars. The village laughed. Look at the dreamer serving tea. Does he think he'll ever sit in those cars? But David wasn't just serving tea. He was observing. He noticed patterns. He saw how these successful people talked, walked, and most importantly, how they thought. While his hands poured tea, his mind absorbed lessons worth millions. One day, a wealthy businessman forgot his newspaper at the stall. David found an article about a young entrepreneur who started with nothing and built an empire. That night, under a flickering streetlight, David read that article 17 times. Each time, his dreams grew bigger. The next morning, something changed. David decided that thinking small was the real poverty, not his empty pockets. He borrowed books from the library about business, success, and innovation. He had no money for courses, so he learned from free resources, from observation, from failure. With his first month's savings of just $50, David didn't buy new clothes or food. He bought materials to start a small business, creating customized notebooks for students. People mocked him. $50? That's not even real business. But David was thinking differently. He wasn't thinking about $50. He was thinking about 50 million. He worked 18 hours a day, failed repeatedly. His first 100 notebooks didn't sell. He lost his investment. His family begged him to give up. But here's what separated David from everyone else. He saw failure as feedback, not as final. He improved his designs, understood his customers better, and tried again. This time, his notebooks sold out in 3 days. The profits? Just $75. Still laughable to many, but not to David. He reinvested every penny. 3 months became 6 months. 6 months became a year. His small notebook business grew. He hired 2 people from his village, then 5, then 20. 5 years later, that same tea stall boy owned a stationery empire worth millions. His products were in thousands of schools. He employed over 200 people. The same villagers who laughed now celebrated him as their hero. When reporters asked him the secret, David smiled and said, "My bank account was empty, but my thinking was rich." Most people fail not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. I had nothing to lose, so I decided to think impossibly big. Today, David's story reminds us of one powerful truth. Your current circumstances don't determine your future. Your thinking does. Empty pockets are temporary. Empty dreams are permanent defeat. The size of your thinking determines the size of your achievement. When you think small, you get small results. When you think big, even if you fall short, you'll land among the stars. So ask yourself tonight, are you thinking big enough? Or are you letting your current situation shrink your dreams? Remember, every giant oak tree was once a small seed that refused to stay small. Your story isn't written by where you start. It's written by how big you dare to think. Think big, dream bigger. The world makes space for people whose dreams are too big to be contained.